Of the table, must be a disappointing year, but I'm sure you want to finish on a high.
Yeah, look, it's been obviously a shortened season with missing some of the games, with some of the festivals, but we see this as a great opportunity for us to win a game and go unbeaten this week here in Dublin, so we'll be trying to do that.
You made a few changes?
Yes, we've got Lorcan Tucker and Barry McCarthy coming back in, so it's great to have a bit of extra experience coming into the group.
Perfect, best of luck, George. Mark might come forward. Mark, you've lost the toss, what would you have done?
Probably had a ball, if I'm honest. Not too fast though.
You've had a really good IP20 season. I'm sure you want to continue that today.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely not thanks to me. Anyway, it's my first game of the year for in the T20 stuff. So yeah, look, the lads have had a really good campaign so far. I know we've lost a couple of games of rain, but any games we have played have been pretty dominant.
Matthew Humphreys was outstanding with the ball the other day.
Yeah, he's a good operator. He's learning more and more each day, and I think having him come back from an international break and then come back in and play these games, it's been really beneficial for him.
Obviously, you come into the team. Any other changes for us?
Yes, Tyrone Cohen misses out today, and Kate Cormack also drops out.
Perfect, Mark. Best of luck.
Cheers, thank you.
So that's the news from the middle, is that the Leinster Lightning have won the toss and are going to ball first.
Well, you're back in perfect time for us to see the start of play. Couple of changes for both sides today. Any thoughts on those, Craig?
Well, no surprise. It's good to see the Irish players coming back into these sides. For the Northern Knights, Mark Adair, joined by Mark Fostering coming into the team, replacing Cade Carmichael and Cohen. And then a couple of internationals as well for the Leinster Lightning, with the return of Lorcan Tucker and Barry McCarthy.
And Lorcan Tucker has the wicket-keeping gloves on, so Mark Donegan will be just an ordinary fielder today, fielding in the covers for this opening ball that will be delivered by Mike O'Reilly into the breeze.
And a few specks of rain.
Well, there's a surprise.
Sums up the week, really, doesn't it?
But there's a fair bit of blue sky as well as the darker clouds, and we should get away with it with a bit of luck. So O'Reilly, pacey, he'll be starting. Presumably that means Barry McCarthy will start from the far end. And here we go, Leinster Lightning against the Northern Knights. And O'Reilly right on the mark, but pushed to mid-on for a single. So Ross Adair rather, off the mark. Paul Sterling now on strike.
Well, you mentioned about Barry McCarthy. No guarantee he will open from the other end, though. Also David Delaney in the side. So I wouldn't say an embarrassment of riches for Captain George Dockrell, but certainly some options for him.
Absolutely. Fionn Hand as well, of course, and the captain himself, sure to bowl a few. Paul Sterling was a little bit off form yet on Tuesday. Nice to see him really back to form today. One of the greatest players ever to represent his country.
Oh, he's been such a stalwart of the team for quite a while now. Captain of the white ball team, of course.
Down the leg side and off the pads, I think. Running away for 4 leg byes. Could have been signalled a wide, but leg byes it is.
You see here, Mike O'Reilly is straying, and immediately Sterling just clips onto his hip and runs away. No bat involved. Yes, if he'd stepped inside it, it may have been given a wide, but with the contact, leg byes.
Oh, certainly contact there. Over the roof of the clubhouse, Sterling gets his first maximum of this innings, and you might say the Knights are away.
Well, he certainly put that one right up on the roof of the clubhouse here at Pembroke. Onto the length of it so quickly. A man of his class wasn't going to miss out there. You see it bouncing up on the roof.
Should take a chunk out of the ball, I should imagine.
Well, already the third umpire being utilised, bringing on a new selection of balls. One wonders if Sterling's in this sort of form, how many times are we going to see the third umpire?
Need to be a pretty brand new ball. There's only been 4 deliveries with it. Good start for the Knights. This could be fun. We haven't seen 200 scored this week yet. Last year, in beautiful conditions on this corresponding week, there were a lot of big scores. That's a no ball. Players come through to swap ends, but no ball bowled there by Mike O'Reilly for overstepping.
Oh, a tricky first over the Leinster Lightning have got themselves into here. Already the score of 4 balls up as far as 13. Includes, well, runs off the bat and extras.
And Rossiter, very unlucky there. There is a man at deep mid on, Sam Harbinson, so it probably only would have been 1 run, but smashed the stumps. Some work for the umpire.
Oh, and again, shows the danger of backing up too far. Sterling was well and truly out of his ground when the ball crashed into the stumps, but no hand or finger laid on it, so no damage done.
A healthy 13 for no wicket in the first over. And that's a swing and a miss from Rossiter. And it's the end of difficult over for O'Reilly.
Well, we know the potential of these two, Rossiter and Paul Sterling. If they get it right, my goodness, the score could go big. And the Leinster Lightning want to keep them not only quiet, but get sent back to the sidelines as soon as possible. Opening the bowling from the nursery end will be Fionn Hand. As we said, George Dockrell has a number of options open to him in these opening bowler slots. Delaney and McCarthy held in reserve for now. It's quite funny because we saw that the spinners did the damage on Tuesday, whether it be just pulling back the run rate or taking wickets. Matt Humphries, of course, took 5 for 13 on Tuesday. He's a guy who will be feeling good about bowling here at Sydney Parade, that's for sure. But we'll have to wait a while to see that. And at the moment, Fionn Hand from the nursery end.
Now where's that gone? Sliced away to third man. Boundary for Paul Sterling. He quickly moves to 11 and the score to 17. Fionn Hand, who was very expensive in Leinster Lightning's victory on Tuesday, went for 42 runs in his 4 overs.
Well, I don't think that shot went exactly where Paul Sterling was looking to hit it, but he won't mind. If you are going to flash, flash hard. Ran away to the boundary behind square on the offside.
Slower delivery that time. Just touched into the leg side. No bat involved, a leg by. 17-18 for no wicket now.
Well, Fionn Hand may feel better to see Paul Sterling standing at the non-striker's end, but Rossiter himself can be just as damaging at the top of the order.
Oh, very short bat from Fionn Hand. That'll be the one for the over. signalled by umpire Steve Wood.
Still not a bad ball for Hand to bowl. Got him a dot ball. He gave Adair something to think about.
Slower delivery, straight up in the air, but there's no fielder out there. Another boundary for the Knights, who are starting like they mean to continue.
Well, they're out of the traps, as if this was Shelbourne Park rather than Sydney Parade. Both of these batsmen free-flowing, and of course no pressure on them. The Knights have already been crowned champions, or anointed champions. Coronation will come after this game.
Using his feet well and slicing it away, backward of point. Tim Tector is out there. Just a single this time for Adair, who moves to 6. Sterling on 11. 23 for no wicket. 9 off this over with 1 delivery to go.
Well, 9 runs in this over off the bat so far. Fionn Hand making changes to the field. George Dockerell's already come out from slip to strengthen the leg side.
Sterling had his eyes on the backward square leg boundary, but couldn't get bat on ball. Another leg by, and that brings to an end the second over from Fionn Hand. 9 runs coming from it. 24 for no wicket the score. 2 overs gone.
Well, it looks like Barry McCarthy's coming on to bowl, but right now something seems to have flown into his eye, getting his teammate to pick it out. Well, you need all sorts in a team these days, all sorts of medical attention. But Barry McCarthy now to bowl the 3rd over, and he's coming on at the St John's end.
One of the 2 players brought in today, Barry McCarthy, and the other being Lorcan Tucker, in place of Seamus Lynch and Amish Sidhu. So here comes McCarthy to Sterling. 2 players who know each other so well from their many days playing together for Ireland. Could be quite a contest, this.
Very much so. One of the Irish Premier bowlers against one of the Irish Premier batsmen. Here they are playing under the IP interprovincials.
Lifted nicely into cow corner. Tim Tector is there, and a leisurely 2 for Paul Sterling.
Another shot where Sterling's looking to go big. I can't see him pushing too many into the covers for a quick single. He seems to be in the mood today to go big. He doesn't mind who's bowling at him.
That one got up off a good length, or just back of a good length. And Sterling acknowledging that he was beaten by that one.
A little thumbs up to McCarthy. I suppose from Paul Sterling's point of view, he'd be delighted now he's captain to see that one of his bowlers is in such good form.
Just seemed to catch him in the upper arm with the shoulder.
I think we now have a helmet check. It may have gone onto his shoulder, but it seemed to come off the grill. And so, as is the way these days, any blow to the head, to the helmet, fully investigated by the medical staff. Paul Sterling assures everybody he's quite all right. And he's ready to go again.
Quickly moved on to 13 off 10 deliveries. Ross Adair a more modest 6 off 6. This is a real feeling of let battle commence. Or rather continue between McCarthy and Sterling. Another good ball from McCarthy right on the spot. Sterling paying respect to that well pitched up delivery.
Well, this is good bowling for McCarthy. He's well aware that both of these batsmen are looking to go big. He's doing his best just to pin them back. Just 2 runs from his first 4 deliveries.
That one's lifted away to cow corner again, and nobody's going to stop that one. Over the ropes for a boundary. Sterling on to 17. Healthy start for the Knights.
This is a lovely shot. It all comes from the wrist. It was just a flick. Half helicopter shot almost. And it found open space. Was only a foot or 2 away from the maximum.
Last delivery of the 3rd over. 30 the score already. Fireworks on display in Sydney Parade. This one played nice and technically well to square leg, where Tim Tector is the fielder. Just the 1 run there. 7 off McCarthy's first over. Sterling goes to 18. Adair on 6. 31 for no wicket after 3. 3 overs, 3 different bowlers so far.
Yes, Dockrell spreading around the responsibilities at the moment. But when you've got free on hand, Mikey O'Reilly, Barry McCarthy, and now we'll see a 4th bowler in the 4th over as David Delaney comes on.
An embarrassment of riches.
Well, we may think so, but the scoreboard still, after those first 3 overs, reading 31 without the loss.
And as you were saying, the spinners did very well on Tuesday. And in this Leinster Lightning team, Simi Singh and George Dockrell. Playing a miss from Paul Sterling. First ball from David Delaney, with the aid of the breeze, which is sort of blowing over his right shoulder.
Northwesterly breeze here today. Northerly yesterday. It has really gusted from all directions in our time and our week here at Sydney Parade.
Pacey delivery, no run. Simi Singh coming around from mid-wicket to pick it up. Score stays 31 for no wicket. We were saying on Tuesday how good it was to see David Delaney back in action, hoping to impress the selectors and maybe mount a claim for inclusion in the Ireland squad.
Well, they have some big games coming up with the series against India in Malahide, and then 3 ODIs against England in Headingley.
Firmly hit, but straight to the fielder at mid-on. That's George Dockrell. So again, no run. Good start to this over from Delaney. Shorter bowler tends to skid it through. And that one's cracked away by Sterling. Seemed to come quite high off the bat. but it still sailed all the way to the boundary, and that's the longer boundary here at Pembroke. So a 6 to the Irish skipper.
Well, it may be the longest boundary here in Pembroke, but it was of no bother to Paul Stirling. Short arm jab brings him the maximum, and Delaney's very tidy over. Well, changes in an instant.
Couple of 6s, couple of 4s for Stirling already. There's hit straight down the ground past the man at mid-off, Fionn Hand. Another boundary. Stirling means business. Score is flying along. 41 for no wicket with 1 delivery left in the 4th.
Well, that was a very interesting shot from Paul Stirling. Not exactly maximum footwork, but eye-hand coordination, and the shot itself absolutely spot on. Driven away to the boundary. Economy of effort, I think, is the phrase that would go with that shot.
George Dockrell just having a few words there with the bowler. That was a slower one, and he hasn't caught this one. And Dockrell is there, and they've got the wicket. Stirling has perished. And Delaney, with the final ball of his first over, gets the breakthrough for Leinster Lightning. First wicket goes down at 41. Last ball of the 4th over. Delaney has 1 for 10. And Stirling has to walk back. 28 off 19 deliveries. Caught Dockrell, bowled Delaney. Leinster Lightning into the game now.
Well, they'll be absolutely delighted with this result. George Dockrell had a word with his bowler, and when Stirling went deep on the leg side, Delaney followed him there, gave him no room to swing his arms, and all he could do was loft it medium height down to George Dockrell. And the Leinster skipper, well, he wasn't going to miss that opportunity to see Paul Stirling going back to the sidelines. And coming in at number 3 now for the Northern Knights is James McCollum. He'll have a interesting game in a couple of weeks. He has the All-Ireland Senior Cup, the Bob Kerr, coming up, being held on his home ground as Warringstown take on Leinster. Leinster the club. Leinster the province haven't got round to entering the All-Ireland. But there'll be a good game up in Warringstown.
It's going to be Fionn Hand to bowl the 5th over.
Early change of ends for Hand.
So far, 5 overs, 5, well, I wouldn't say bowling changes, but 4 different bowlers used, 1 changing ends. And that's a wide down the leg side. Ross Adair has been a bit of a spectator over the last few overs as the Paul Stirling show cranked into, what, 2nd, 3rd gear. Never quite got to 4th.
It certainly wasn't in top gear, but we say that, and yet he scored 28 off 18.
Better delivery that time from Hand, and Adair plays and misses.
Well, that was clever from Fionn Hand. He bowled that one, and again saw Adair trying to give himself some room. Followed him across. Brought back his length a little bit. Just making it as difficult as possible for these batsmen.
Oh, there was a touch there. It's a wicket, a breakthrough again for Leinster Lightning, and Ross Adair has to go. Caught behind by Tucker off the bowling of Fionn Hand for 6. So it's a double breakthrough for the Lightning. And that will certainly set the Knights back, at least for a while. 42 for 2.
Well, Leinster will be delighted they have both of these big hitting openers back in the hutch. And 2 wickets falling in successive overs And on this occasion, Adair, well, he was looking to lift that one onto the leg side, but all he could do was get a touch on it. And Tucker very gratefully taking the catch. Well, George Dockrell will be delighted with this start now. Just as it looked like the Northern Knights were getting off to an absolute flyer as Sterling and Adair free flowing. But the brakes have very much been put on with the loss of those 2 wickets.
Yep, from 41 for no wicket to 42 for 2. Different complexion. And some success for the Lightning in the power play.
Well, as you said, Ross Adair was pretty much stranded at the non-striker's end for a large part of this first 5 overs. He'd only faced 6 deliveries.
So Morgan Topping, the new man from the Waringstown club. And straight away he gets off the mark with that little dab down to short third, which sounded very nice off the bat, I'd have to say. Had a lovely sound, that lovely sound off the middle.
We saw Morgan Topping down in the Mardyke back in June, and he looked good then.
Turns straight to mid-wicket. Harbinson, the fielder. No run.
Well, hasn't there been a change in the complexion of the game, just with the removal of the 2 big hitting openers? And suddenly you just sense there's a change, that these 2 new batsmen to the crease, they're going to want to play themselves in. They're going to want to establish a partnership.
Oh, that ball spun viciously away from Mikey O'Reilly, and it's gone for 4. Looked like he was going to stop it there, but just confused by the movement of the ball.
Well, he's there for that very shot around the corner, but on this occasion, beaten by the ball, left looking a little foolish as the ball trickled over the rope. 4 more onto the total. That moves to 47 for 2.
McCullum off the mark with that boundary. And he turns this one nicely away for 4. That one well wide of O'Reilly, and a couple of 4s at the end of what was a very good over from Fionn Hand, getting the breakthrough and the second wicket. Ross Adair out, but here's the situation.
Well, as you can see, Paul Sterling, he went off quite quickly. Number of boundaries, not too many singles taken. And Adair, well, he was stranded watching Sterling, and then he fell to one when he tried to push it on a bit.
O'Reilly with that breakthrough there. Fionn Hand with the breakthrough. 1 for 19 though off 2 overs. Delaney with the other wicket, getting Paul Sterling out, and now we've got Sam Harbinson coming on from the nursery end. So already Leinster with their 5th different bowler in this power play of 6 overs.
Well, there used to be a time when you just had the 2 bowlers would see you through a power play, and then you'd see how you get on for the rest of the innings, keep an overreach for both of them for the end. But how things have changed. And he's George Dockrell. This will be the 5th bowler he's used.
And still neither himself nor Simi Singh has bowled, so we could see 7 different bowlers today for the Lightning. That was close, maybe a little bit high. Morgan Topping deceived by that one.
It's almost a solo appeal from the bowler. It's Morgan Topping. He impressed me down in Cork. Certainly one for the future, one to keep an eye on.
Yes, very elegant batsman, tall. Well, that's the way to give him Nothing to hit, but it's signalled a wide.
But no harm. It shows Topping that that ball is in the arsenal of Harbison. Although it was wide on this occasion.
Quite a lot of life in this pitch. That one getting well above helmet height. And that's cracked away through the covers. Beautifully played. Just waited on it. Found the gap. And Topping has his first boundary.
Well, this is a lovely shot. You can see there's attacking intent by the way he goes down the track. It is a bit wide, but rather than trying to smack it somewhere or belt it somewhere, he just guided it into the gap and with timing made sure it reached the rope in double quick time. Super shot from Topping.
A highest scoring power play this. There's another run for Topping to move the score to 57 for 2. Topping to 6. And McCullum with 2 boundaries back on strike. It's practically glorious now. We haven't seen this much sun for at least a week in South Dublin.
You'll see on your screen, players actually producing shadows on the pitch.
Slower ball, nicely played, and good delivery from Harbinson. 1 added to the score off the bat of McCullum. 58 for 2 now. Just a couple of balls left now in the power play. Oh, Morgan Topping was coming down the wicket there, and clever bowling from Harbinson just dropped it in a bit shorter. Beat the outside edge.
This has been some good bowling from Harbison. He hasn't just produced a stock ball time and time again. He's mixed it up. Slower ball working well. Topping, oh, he's trying to put him off his line of length by coming down the track at times.
That one was pitched up a little bit more and it deceived Topping. Came off the edge and he scampered through for a single. It's the final ball of a very interesting power play. Northern Knights anxious to get on with it. Leinster Lightning getting a couple of breakthroughs. The openers are out. It's 59 for 2 after 6. McCullum on 9, Topping on 7. And with that, it's time to change commentators. John Kenny and Sean Hussey taking over.
For changeovers, we got spin. George Dockrell. Afternoon, Sean.
Afternoon, John. Afternoon, everyone.
Did I hear you spell your name? It's in Irish, isn't it? Sean de Jose.
That's Gaeilge.
Sean de Jose, we'll call you that now in future. So the Leinster Lightning captain is on. 59 for 2 at the end of 6. He's got a chance to step outside and watch Paul Sterling. He's impressive when he's in full flight, isn't he?
Yeah, and when Paul Sterling's in full flight, everyone knows about it because everyone in the field has been moved. Just demands so much attention when he is in full flight. Chance for a run out.
I think he's gone. He is gone. That's sharp from Dockrell. He really is a fantastic fielder, George Dockrell. Has been since he launched himself in the Irish team back in 2010 in the West Indies, in the T20 World Cup out there, off his own bowling. That is an amazing piece of fielding. And McCullum goes for 9. He thought it was an easy single. It was not. Straight into the arms of Tucker, whipped off the bails. and Steve Willer, umpire, gave him run out.
Yeah, poor running in truth. Look at George Docker. Look how quick he covers the ground. And the throw is perfect for Lorcan Tucker. And gone by a good distance. But James McCullum, you can see him scratching his head. He may well have ran out his partner, Morgan Topping, who has to go. Not what the Northern Knights needed.
$60 for 3 now. There were 41 without loss. After that big hitting start between Ross Adair and Paul Sterling, well, more so Paul Sterling. And that brings yesterday's captain into bat, Neil Rock. George Dockrell going over the wicket to the left-hander, who's immediately amongst the runs. There's a club cricket with Rush, not too far up the road from here, on the north side. Dockrell bowls flashed away. There's 2 down there, though. Really good arm. Tim Tector protecting that boundary. That's where he normally is.
Yeah, these two, Rock and McCullum. There's McCullum at the non-striker's end. Sure, don't want to bat for a number of overs here. These two again, just rebuild for the Northern Knights.
Might chance a second here, but the way the feeling has gone so far, Leinster Lightning keeping that down to a single. Just waiting for our scorers to update the correct score. We'll give it to you as soon as that pops up. There we go. 63 for 3. McCollum on 11, off 7. Rock is off the mark, but a remarkable piece of fielding from George Dockrell. That ends that over. 7 down. Overwise, 64 for 3.
Yeah, there's going to be spin from both ends. Simi Singh, we saw how effective he was on Tuesday after having injury issues with his thumb all season. He's got this ability, Simi, to bowl both off break and leg break.
So Topping is the man out. Run out by Dockrell and Tucker in combo for 7. Remarkable piece of fielding. You just can't take on Dockrell's arm. Good start for him as well. 5 singles off that and the wicket from the Leinster Lightning captain. And so, as you say, it's spin at both ends now and sing on. He did have that thumb problem, broke his thumb, wasn't it, in one of the interprovincial games here. Just working his way back to fitness.
Interesting to see what way Neil Rock goes about this, because he scores very quickly anyway, regardless of what the situation is. We saw him bat well on Tuesday, helped get a side over the line. But if the breeze is coming down the ground, the breeze that sings back.
Yeah, 29 not out on Tuesday. Neil Rock captained the side well. Wind is starting to get up now. Very strong wind coming across the ground, left to right as we're looking at it. Rock's back at his heels. George Dockrell can't cut that off. They're going to, well, they won't run chance the second again. Great fielding from the sweeper. Keeps him to 1.
Yeah, good work by Riley Mudford. I think there may well have been 2 there. Slow out the block. James McCullum, and often when a run out happens, I think teams are afraid to make it 2 run outs in an innings.
Left and right combination. Down to Mumford behind square on the leg. And because Simi Singh is going over and around, they keep moving the side screen every delivery pretty much. Fires one in. That's beaten the fielder a short extra cover. Another single. It was an explosive start with Paul Sterling eventually succumbing to the bowling of David Delaney, caught by Dockrell for 28, but Dockrell ringing the changes, and they've slowed that over rate down. End of the 8th, and they're 68 for 3. Northern Knights are asked to bat.
Yeah, brilliant from Simi Singh, and that was the leg spinner, so that's what he can give you. Right hand, left hand, it changes. Likes to bowl those leg spinners to the right hand of McCullum, and the more traditional off break to the left hand of Rock. So it's something he's developed now over a number of years. We've seen him increasingly more common in the international game, like Liam Livingston, who can bowl both. Just gives you an extra string as a bowler.
So the question now is, because he's got now that in his arsenal and his armoury, can he force his way back into the Irish setup?
Well, I'm sure Simi would be thinking that way. I think he'd be disappointed with the timing of the injury, getting it at the start of the season. Because for him, performances at interprovincial level is what's going to get him back into the international fray.
Selectors, they keep keeping an eye on these games, obviously. With the T20 World Cup next year, McCarthy comes up, and just thought for a second he's going to side foot it onto the stumps, but recognising the batter was home.
And I think what having the likes of Paul Sterling playing in these interprovincial games, when they are around the top quality international players, it just increases the standard. And as you can see, there's a few people are down around the ground. Sun is shining here. And obviously it's been a disappointing summer weather-wise, so we haven't seen too much top-level cricket yet on the island of Ireland. But it is good to see a lot of internationals here.
Change to the field again. There's a fielder gone down to Cow Corner. McCarthy from the commentary box end. That's sliced away. That'll go all the way. Nothing the fielder can do about that. Slash hard. 4 runs.
Yeah, extra bounce from Barry McCarthy. We've seen it all day, all week in truth. Just lifting off a length. James McCullum likes playing that shot through the offside. And it just flies out the outside edge. Fortuitous, but he'll take it.
And a celebration game for the Northern Knights. They are the 2023 IP20 champions. The game yesterday rained off. Good stuff by Simi Singh. Game rained off. They moved to 27 points as a result of that. No result yesterday. They can't be caught now. 9 points clear of the Northwest Warriors. Beaten by the Munster Reds in the first game today here. Leinster, defending champions, giving up their title. Indeed, just the one win in their 8 matches so far. That's not great stuff. No Andy Balbirnie on their side either today. The now former Irish white ball captain is away for personal family reasons. And hopefully, upon his return, and games to come against India, which is T20 obviously, and the 3 one-day internationals against England, you can see the former Irish skipper return to form. Maybe the burden of being captain, and it did affect his batting performances. He's admitted it himself. Hopefully he can get back into form, but you don't become a bad batsman overnight. And he did lead his team to some terrific victories. One of the best was a T20 200, 400 game run plus match in Grenada, which I witnessed just before COVID. So from Paul Sterling in terrific form that day. So you don't just turn into a bad batsman overnight. But the burden of captaincy is huge, and the fact that Ireland didn't qualify for the T20 World Cup maybe hastened that decision. Last ball of the ninth. Paddled away. As we wrap up that over, Barry McCarthy with his hands on his hips. He doesn't seem to be too impressed with the fielders out there for some reason. Big long stare. 75 for 3.
Well, it's not often you see a bowler parade his captain, George Dockrell. So now does he think Dockrell could have come in for the catch? Rock hitting it against the breeze that's there. Barry McCarthy, full-hearted cricketer. I thought that there could have been a chance there if he had rid of Neil Rock. But I think you're right about Andrew Alberni, and there'll probably be no better time for him than the India series to just remind people what he's all about with the bat, without that burden of captaincy.
Tries to catch it, but they won't catch that. It'll split the two fielders and down towards the tented area. Rock moves into double figures now. Batted well the other day, quick for 29. Column at the other end on 18. Good overrate as well. Oh, nearly dribbled onto his stumps.
Well, it's almost like Neil Rock's career was at a crossroads the last year or so, having lost the central contract, and it seems this year he's gone out and just found a rich vein of form.
Much flatter delivery from Singh, firing that in to the legs of Rock, who can't work it away. Singh one time on the periphery of the Indian team before he declared for Ireland. Just be the single. Tector is lightning quick across the ground and great arm as well. Brother Harry played for Gloucestershire the other day, got amongst the runs, batted really well. Curtis Camphor as well, playing for Somerset, also amongst the runs. Hopefully that's a good omen for the rest of the season from our Irish internationals. Tector as high as number 7 in the world's batting performances. Remarkable. I had an Irish batsman inside the top 10. So that'll wrap up the 10th over. Single to McCollum. Takes him to 19. Rock's on 11. And 10 down. 81 for 3. The Northern Knights were asked to bat. Chance to look at the batting card now. The Knights, there, gone. Sterling, gone. Sterling, 28 of 19. Offered a lot more, but then skied one to George Dockrell. Brilliant piece of a run out from Dockrell to Tucker to get rid of Topping. Colum and Rock have come together since the score was 60, and they moved on to 81 at the end of 10. Change of bowling. At this end, David Delaney we've seen at the nursery end, now switching to the St. John's end, or commentary box end. Went for 10 runs in his first over, but did have the satisfaction of getting the big wicket of Paul Sterling.
Well, I think Delaney's at his best when he's used in this kind of middle overs role as an enforcer, someone that's a genuine wicket threat. I think Dockrell has the luxury of that today with McCarthy in hand as seamers as well, who may well bowl overs at the death, so it gives Delaney a chance to bowl in the middle overs and look for wickets.
It's in the air. It's going to clear everybody. It just picked up nicely and whipped around the corner. And that's gone for the maximum. Nice shot from McCollum.
Brilliant shot by James McCullum. Just picks it up. Picks the length really early. Just helps it on his way. Goes all the way for 6.
Nothing Fionn Han could do about that except acknowledge that it was going over the boundary ropes. Barry McCarthy coming in to have a word with David Delaney. He gets the shout of approval from McCarthy. That's where he wanted them to bowl. It's good to see the experienced McCarthy have a word with Delaney. It's part of the pearls of wisdom.
I think with someone like David Delaney, I think Clontarf know him really well and they use him really well in the club game. I think similar with Leinster, they've got to find a way of maximising what they get out of him.
A little bit more speed there from Delaney. Push that ball through quickly. Deceive the batsman. Rock on 11 still. Something north of 170 they'll be looking at here. Wickets in hand. 2 set batsmen now at the crease. In McCollum on 26 after 19. Rock on 11. Sun peeks through again. Oh, that's going to go all the way for 4 up and over George Dockrell's head. A minimum of backlift there, and it was fairly whipped away by Rock. That was a lovely shot.
Yeah, picks up the length again. That's the key. Sees it early. Maybe a little bit too predictable from Delaney. And Neil Rock. Well, one thing would say about Neil Rock is when he times the ball, he's got some of the best timing around. Hits the ball so cleanly. Wonderful ball striker.
Right off the middle of the bat, that one. That one not so much. Hit the bottom of the bat. It trundles all the way around the ground to the fielder. And 92 for 3 now. At the end of 11. Meeting of the minds. Experienced campaigner in Dockrell and McCarthy. I think Delaney was expecting to bowl there, and they just told him to put your cap on it. So then they're going to make a change. Simi Singh at the far end now.
Well, I wonder what way Neil Rock and James McCullum will continue to play Simi Singh. I haven't really played too many shots in anger. Neil Rock got that one away through extra cover off Singh. That was a little bit wide. But I'm sure they won't want to let Singh just get about his final 2 overs here. Just keep watching for them variations, particularly to the right-hander where he throws in the leg spinner.
There was an interesting conversation there between, I wouldn't know what was said there between McCarthy, Dockrell and David Delaney. That continued off shot there between McCarthy and Delaney. Seemed to be just, I don't know what was said, but it was strong words. Delaney trotted down to long off. McCarthy was very expressive, speaking to the bowler. Just had a shot. Again, I wonder what that was all about. Singh, as the sun shines through, holds to Rock, got on the leg side, just clipped around the corner for a single. Good to see Lorcan Tucker back behind the stumps, wearing the gloves once again. Singh varying things up as well, Sean, isn't he? Going round the wicket and then over the wicket to the left and right-handers.
I think it's incredible skill here from Singh with the leg spin and the off spin. And he hasn't bought too many loose deliveries in his third over, number 13. So clever, even with a large part of the season out injured.
Rock does the right thing. Goes down the track, and they're going to run back for the second on the slight misfield down there at Cow. Just shorten the gap between himself and the ball. Does a little head count before he turns to face Singh. Tries to catch it. Backward point, drops short. Of Sam Harbison back there. That's the end of the 12th. And one shy of three figures. 99 for three. Northern Knights asked to bat on this sunny afternoon in the south side of Dublin. Sean Hussey and John Kenny bringing you commentary on this final match of the IP20 series and this third festival. So the Manhattan.
You can see just where they lost those wickets of Adair and Sterling on into the power play in the fourth and fifth over. So 3 wickets fell in the space of 4 overs. These two have just gone about a steady rebuild, haven't looked to do anything too rash. There was that over where Delaney was hit for a couple of boundaries. Just wonder when they'll start to put the foot on the accelerator. Both batters well set. And with still some batting to come.
Yeah, nice platform this. Rock and McCollum, well said as you say. A big hike. Some outrageous batting early on from Paul Sterling. I also like watching his batting. Disappointing that he only got 28. Sam Harbison switching ends. Bit of a fumble from Lorcan Tucker, who acknowledges his mistake. And they're up to 3 figures now. 100 for 3. And we're in the 13th over.
Yeah, good change up from Harbison. Probably something we haven't seen an awful lot of this week. In the games we have seen. Seem to go through a little bit slower. Difficult one for Lorcan Tucker, always difficult when it bounces in front of you as a wicket keeper.
Yeah, a lot of work for our 2 umpires to do as well, Steve Wood and Jonathan Kennedy. They're ticking along in ones. So it means that the square leg umpire has to go from left to right and right to left. Bit of military shooting, and it's coming down to us, and it's right down in front of you there, Sean, if you want to try and get it. Yeah, George Docker's joining us. Hello, George. We're good. Leinster Lightning captain happened to climb over the advertising hoardings to get that ball.
Again, wonderful ball striking from Neil Rock. Gives himself a little bit of room. Throws his hands at it.
We're just in that little tent to that left-hand side you can see there. Under threat from that shot from Rock. You can see how quick and just how well he keeps his eye on the ball there, George Dockrell. The ball came down to him and that actually hopped on him in front of him, but he kept his eye on it all the time and whipped it in. And kept the batsman honest as well, who was just trotting up the far end.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a theme. Neil Rock just sauntering in, and there's nothing worse as an opposition player seeing someone do that. You want to keep them honest, as you say.
A scream from Harbison as that ball has gone downtown. McCollum joining the sixth party now. 50 partnership between this pair. Came together with a score on 60. At the fall of the third wicket. And straight through. And Harbison, you can see with that scream of anguish.
Stand and deliver from McCullum. These two, we did question when they're going to get going. They're starting to get going now. Targeting Harbison, realising he's probably not one of Leinster's strike seam bowlers. Can he get out of his over?
He may do. Oh, it's just fallen short of the fine leg fielder. Applause from George Docker at this end for the attempt, but it's another one to the tally. And at the end of 13, it's 114 for 3. What kind of a figure are you looking at here, Sean? What would you be thinking? North of 170, 180?
Yeah, I think they've got to be thinking 180. Particularly if one of these two, I'm sure the talk will be one of us can get a 60, a quick fire, 65, 70 runs, get us up to that 180 mark. I think will be a really competitive total. We've got to be thinking that Leinster batting lineup is very, very long. Plenty of hitting down the order. Especially Lorcan took her back into the side.
Singh. Oh, slightly fortuitous there from Rock. Sliced that away of a backward point. Harbison thought he was in the game for a second. If you're a fan of interprovincial cricket, I'm sure you are because you're watching, aren't you? There's a Rock trying to go downtown. There's somebody underneath that. Oh, dropped. That was a good attempt at a running catch. But Rock survives and it's gone all the way for the maximum as well, which to rub salt into the wounds.
Yeah, Simi Singh won't be happy with David Delaney. It was a difficult chance, wind swirling as well. It seemed to be the off spinner from Simi Singh, not the change up, and it wasn't the leg spinner, so gave him a little bit of flight. And McCullum has dropped on the boundary and it goes all the way.
Oh, he's bowled him. Well, there's a bit of revenge. I'd say a bit of anger in that delivery as well. And Rock loses his off stump, and the fourth wicket goes down with a score of 122. So Singh wins that particular battle.
Gets his man, and he gets him with the leg spinner. And McCullum just hasn't been able to get that particular delivery away. Goes for the slog sweep and into the longer boundary. You can see Singh almost. The celebration is part of setting him up. As you can see, out of the hand comes the leg spinner. Crashes in to off stump. Big wicket.
McCollum gone for a very well crafted 45 from 30 deliveries. I was just saying, if you're a fan of interprovincial cricket, we moved to the T20 series on Monday the 14th of August. We'll be in the hills for Leinster against the Warriors, and then on Tuesday the 15th down to Cork. The Reds involved in 2 games there. They're at home to the Knights, and then on the 17th of August they're at home to Leinster. It's always a pleasure to go down to the Mardyke. Hope to go down for a couple of those games. Rune Pretorius from Woodvale, his club, joins the party with the Northern Knights on 122 for 4. And is he gone straight away? Yes, he is. That's 2 and 2 from Singh. I was actually chatting to Pretorius. He was looking forward to batting earlier on. He was walking by us a couple of hours ago, and he said he was in good nick, hoping to score well. And he's gone first ball, and lo and behold, Singh's on a hat-trick.
And again, it's the leg spinner that does the trick for the right-hander. brilliant from Simi Singh. At the back of the hand. Doesn't have to spin a whole lot. Just that element of surprise on Pretorius. He goes for a first baller. The Knights are 5 down for 122.
One, two, two for 3 has now become 1, 2, 2 for 5. Pretorius, Bowl, Singh. Rock is still there. He's not riding on his shoulders now. We're at 180, he's looking a long way off now at this stage. 2 quick wickets just changes the whole complexion of the game. And the Northern Knights captain, Mark Adair, who missed the game on Tuesday, is back at the side now, captaining the side. Been in very good form recently with the bat, Mark Adair. Especially in the T20 qualifiers. Bit of wobble for Ireland in that first match where they nearly got taken out by the Italians, but then they had a better set of games like Denmark. Denmark could have been potential tricky customers, but Ireland put them to the sword. And then there was almost 450 runs in the final against Scotland. Scotland came over the line on a very good batting wicket. Scored 236, I think it was. Ireland nearly chased down that total. Both, though, have gone to the World Cup next year. And Singh's hat-trick ball doesn't come off. And there is off the mark. And this is an over that's had everything so far. 9 runs from it, 2 wickets. Last ball. Rock facing. This is the 14th over. And a dot ball, and Simi Singh fields off his own bowling. So that's the end of 14. Thanks to Sean for the moment. 123 for 5, 6 overs to go. And it will be Stephen and Mr. Senior to pop back in again for the last 6 overs of this, the Northern Knights batting.
What a fine over for Simi Singh there. 2 wickets. Really pinning back the Northern Knights. John Kenny and Sean Hussey were talking about 180 or so for the Northern Knights. They'll have to revise that forecast now, one suspects. Although as long as Neil Rock is at the crease, one feels that it's still a possibility.
Yeah, Neil Rock becomes the senior batter. Mark Adair just in, 1 run off 1 ball. Rock, he's been there a while playing second fiddle to James McCullum, but now he will have to leave the orchestra. And a chance here. Lorcan Tucker trying to run out Neil Rock. Just missed the stumps. They scampered through for another run.
Well, it wasn't a particularly well-judged run. If there had been a direct hit, I think Tucker would have had Rock on his way. But Mark Adair doing exactly the right thing and just handing over the strike to his partner.
Neil Rock, he's had an impressive series going back to the Mardyke. He played some very good innings down there. Very steady player. 29 not out on Tuesday. Chasing a lowish total. He's hammered that, and there was no chance for Barry McCarthy, who was inside the circle at mid-off. Smashed away to wide mid-off for another boundary to Rock.
Well, this shot, hit with power, hit with strength. Gave himself room, cleared his front foot, and the dive of McCarthy. Not enough to get near the ball. Travelled away for 4. That knock of 29 you were talking about on Tuesday, it almost was the difference between the two sides. I mean, it was a low total that the Northern Knights were chasing on that occasion, but they actually needed Neil Rock's innings of 29 to just see them to the finishing line without too much in the way of angst.
29 is what he is right now, and he's beaten there by the extra pace from Fionn Hand.
Well, neither side really has taken the initiative yet, taken the lead.
That's well hit. High and handsome over the head of Riley Mudford, who's at cow corner. 6-2 Rock takes him to 35 of 22 deliveries.
Well, this is a lovely shot from Rock. Goes to show the power he has as well as the touch. Again, clearing that front foot. Once he saw the length, he knew where he was going with it.
Again, he doesn't try to hit the ball too hard. It's just nice timing. Something we've almost come to expect from left-handers. Often very elegant the way they bat. There's no way he was getting to that one. 1 for the over. Just one delivery left in this 15th over. Still a score of 175 on here. The current run rate is 9. 175, 180, very gettable, especially if Rock stays in. Laid that into the ground. Straight to the fielder. I think it's Mark Doheny in the covers. No run, and that's the end of 15, and Rock is 35. Mark Adair still to really get going. 10 off that over from Fionn Hand, and there's the scorecard.
Well, James McCullum, top scoring with 45 at the moment, and he was scoring at a strike rate of 150. But it was the opening partnership of Adair and Sterling that got the Northern Knights off to such a good start.
41 they put on in 4 overs. But the big partnership was between Topping and McCullum. 62 between them. And here's what the Northern Knights worm looks like. A couple of wickets gone there in the 14th over, but it hasn't really slowed down the elevation. It's going to be David Delaney back into the attack here. A very conservative no run at this stage of the innings from Mark Adair there. There could have been a run on. I think Neil Rock needs to be on strike as much as possible, and Sam Harbinson had to move quite a bit to his right. We've seen a lot of that today.
We certainly saw it in the first game this morning. Munster Reds and the Northwest Warriors.
Again, no run. Straight to the fielder at mid-off. Barry McCarthy, who really wanted them to go there. He was all set to fire it in. George Dockrell again. Great communication between him and his bowlers, and he's just had a word in David Delaney's ear. So maybe expect something different here. Shorter delivery, and that's smashed away. Power from Mark Adair. That's the biggest hit we've had this week.
Well, Mark Adair, powerful man himself, but also using the pace of Delaney. Just swing of the bat. Delaney's head goes back. He knew exactly what was going to happen to that one. No fetching that one back very quickly. 6 more onto the total.
140 for 5. Run rate just above 9. Still 4.5 overs to go. 5 wickets in hand. That's straight down the ground. The man at mid-off is inside the circle, so it's another boundary for Mark Adair, taking over the McCullum mantle. and powering the Knights forward.
Powering is exactly the right word. See here, just lifts it away. He knows there's nobody on the boundary to stop that one. And once he cleared the ring, the only thing to field that was groundsman Dale McDonough. He was here at 5:45 this morning, preparing the ground, was the groundsman.
And it's an absolute credit to him. You wouldn't believe it was so wet here yesterday. Place looks immaculate. Nice shot, but straight to Timmy Tector on that cover boundary. Single for Adair, who moves up to 12. Brings Rock on strike. 145 for 5. It's starting to look healthier again for the Knights after losing those couple of quick wickets when the score was 1-2-2. And now another confab at the bowler's end between McCarthy, Dockrell and Delaney. And another change in the field as Neil Rock comes on strike. 35 of 24 deliveries. Delaney's going to go round the wicket, so a little adjustment to the sight screen. That's the delay.
Delaney choosing to go round the wicket to the left-hander now for a change of fortune.
Well pitched up and so a little bit wide according to our umpire. So extra run to the score for the Knights.
It's good pace from Delaney though. Going through to Tucker. He's a good 20, 25 yards behind the stumps. And it was still rising as it hit his gloves.
Turned into the vacant mid-wicket area. Just a single though. Tector quickly in off the boundary. Rock keeps the strike. He's on 36. Adair is on 12. Delaney's 3 overs have gone for 35. And the score, 147 for 5 after 16.
Well, still 4 overs to go. And that 180, well, getting closer and closer for the Northern Knights. Well, there you see at the bottom, Singh with 2 for 25. And his economy rate, one of the better ones.
McCarthy's back on bowling duty. He's still got a couple of overs left. 7 different bowlers used by the Leinster Lightning, so lots of options. Only Singh has bowled himself out so far, and there's only 4 overs to go. It's going down the leg side, just struck Rock on the pad. Quick run taken by Adair, leg by.
Well, they've kept this run rate just above 9 for quite a while now. That, of course, will bring up the 180 that was being discussed earlier. That's the sort of target they're going to want to be setting. 183 was set in the first game by the Munster Reds.
Slashed away. Is it too high for the cover fielder? Yes, it is. Over the head of Riley Mudford. Big man marker there. He can smash the ball way over these boundaries.
On this occasion, a bit more elevation than perhaps he would have wanted, but it was enough to get it over the fielder, right on the fence. He's now moved on to 18 from just 8 balls. I suppose a leading from the front, leading by example for the Northern Knights.
Another one off the splice. This time it'll drop short of Mudford and just a single to Adair this time, but keeps the boards ticking. Rotating the strike. It's just what the Knights need at this stage. 155 for 5.
Well, the fielding side have to stay so alert with this left-hand, right-hand combination. The last thing you want to be is where you should be for the right-hander with the left-hander facing.
4 out in the fence on the leg side and nobody in saving a single, which would suggest a short ball here.
Oh, it was almost a double bluff there by McCarthy. Yes, the trap very definitely set on the leg side. Down at fine leg, behind square, mid wicket, long on.
And that 2 off the pads of Neil Rock, who was just trying to turn it into that vacant leg side.
Slightly slower ball for McCarthy, and Rock recognised it, and as you say, he took out the big shot and just wanted to play it round the corner. McCarthy followed him, cramped him for room.
Well, after going for that 6 in the second ball of this over, it's been a good comeback from McCarthy. Keeping his composure, really thinking his way through this over. Now, can he finish it off? That was a lovely shot. Just waited for it. That's a wonderful stop on the boundary by Tim Tector, who has been outstanding in the deep today for Leinster Lightning. And it's just the 1 run for top scoring Neil Rock, who keeps the strike, and at the end of 17, 156 for 5 is the total. And it'll be Rock on strike for the start of the 18th over.
Well, what a fabulous piece of fielding by Tim Tector. He had a lot of room to make up to start with. So many times you see players get that close and then the ball just triples past them. On this occasion, Tim Tector, firm hand, stopping the ball.
3 overs bowled by McCarthy for 22 runs. George Dockrell, apart from Simi Singh and 1 over from himself, relying on the medium pacers today. It's Fionn Hand who's back into the attack. This will be his final over. I think Neil Rock was thinking about the ramp shot there, but it didn't quite come off, just got the single.
Well, as well as being quick to think about playing the ramp shot, he was equally as quick to pull out of it, realising that wasn't the delivery. It was right in at his toes. There was no way he could get the bat underneath that and lift it. So just kept it out. But then again, at the rate they're going at the moment, the occasional dot ball isn't doing too much damage. Unlike this morning's game where we actually saw not only a maiden, but later on a wicket maiden. So unusual to see in T20 cricket now.
3 out deep on the leg side for Adair. Waited for that nicely. Now, can Tim Tector get to this one? Yes, he can. They've come back for 2, though. That's great running by Adair and Rock.
Well, if you're playing the ball out towards the wall, towards the fence on that side, it's got to be well away from a fielder to even give you a chance of thinking of the second. But on this occasion, Adair ran the first ones quite quickly, let him get back for the second, and here he is facing again.
That's off the splice, but it's probably going to drop short. Oh no, it isn't. Great fielding. Coming in off the boundary. Had to make a lot of room up there. And it's Dave Delaney who's taken the catch. Must have come 15-20 yards in for that one. And the breakthrough for the Lightning, and the very dangerous Mark Adair is caught Delaney. Bold hand. And the 6th wicket is down.
Well, it was only a short partnership. They came together in the 14th over with the score on 122. They put on 37 Just 4 overs. And you can sense now that Neil Rock and the remaining batsmen are going to be purely looking for the fence. They've 4 wickets in hand. There's 2.5 overs to go. Mark Adair's innings containing those 2 big sixes. 21 off 11. A fine strike rate, doing just what his side needed at the right time.
And the new batter, Tom Mays, from the North Down Club, better known as a bowler, but he wouldn't have you believe that. Every bowler I know thinks they can bat.
Oh, it's not just that they can bat, it's that they're a genuine all-rounder.
That was a good ball from hand. Tom Mays, probably the tallest player in the Northern Knights team, but that one was well up at head height. 1 for the over. That one's a bit shorter, and this will be an easy caught and bowled, and Fionn Hand has got a couple in the space of 3 balls, and all of a sudden this Northern Knights innings is crumbling. 159 now for 7, and Hand gets a couple in this over, and Mays back to the pavilion without scoring. And this very, very important work by Leinster Lightning in the field.
Well, that was well done again by Hand. You can see here Tom Mays just out to the middle, but with only a few balls remaining in this innings, he's keen to get onto it. But without the footwork, it just came in on him. It left him with very little room, and all he could do was spoon it up for Hand to take the catch. So 7 wickets down, 159 on the board.
And just 13 deliveries left, and really it's up to Neil Rock now to step up and commandeer the strike. He needs to take over. Theo van Workum has come in at number 9. Very important for the Knights that Neil Rock gets most of the strike in these closing 2 overs and a bit. Another short ball from Hand, and that the second in the over that's gone through at head height. But a dot ball it is, and it's a great over for Fionn Hand. 2 wickets, and really important wickets too.
Well, this has been a feature of the Northern Knights innings so far. They lost wicket in the 4th over and then 1 in the 5th. 1 in the 7th seems to stand alone, but they lost 2 in the 14th and now 2 in the 18th. It's wickets falling in clumps. But one thing that hasn't changed is the attitude of the Northern Knights batsmen. They're certainly going for their shots, even at personal cost of their wickets.
Here comes Barry McCarthy. And Rock hammers him away for 6 over square leg. Well, that's how you answer a double breakthrough in the previous over. Won't make Barry McCarthy too happy, I'd say. Fancy a short one next up, I think.
Jovial and good-humoured Barry McCarthy.
Rock moves to 44 off 31. Van Workum yet to get off the mark. 11 balls to go, 165 for 7. And that one's to cow corner, but it'll just be a single this time. Well fielded by Riley Mudford. Rock to 45, now Van Workum yet to get off the mark. Very important for the Knights to keep scoring off every delivery. That's quite cleverly played to third, and it's beaten the fielder Simi Singh down there, and that's another boundary. And this time it's to Van Workum, who has just joined Rock at the crease. They've got to keep the momentum up. You get the feeling that they're going to need a big total here. As the sun comes out at Sydney Parade, the wicket generally gets a little bit easier.
Very much so. And you'll be expecting the Leinster Lightning to make a good fist of chasing down whatever total the Northern Knights put up today.
9.19 now, the run rate. Short and pulled handsomely. Fine effort from Van Werkum. Following up the 4 to third man with a pull to mid-wicket, and it's 10 off the last 2 balls. And all of a sudden, the momentum is with the champions.
Well, when you've got a batsman playing shots like that coming in at number 9, you know you have a strong batting order. That's a super shot over square leg. 6 more onto the total.
I think Barry McCarthy's a little bit shell-shook here. 17 off this over so far. Dot ball there. Played straight to Doheny in the covers. So just 1 delivery left for McCarthy. None for 39 off his 3.5 overs. That run rate up to 9.35 now, which could equate to a score around 185, maybe 190. He didn't time that one, but he'll get the single. Van Werkum moves to 11 off 5 deliveries. It's the end of Barry McCarthy's spell. Expensive last over. None for 40 of his 4 overs. And with 1 over to go, Rock on 45, Van Werkum on 11. It's 177 for 7.
Well, they need 7 off this over to set the highest total we've seen in Sydney Parade this week. But this has been a good performance by the 2023 IP20 champions. Runs up and down the order. And whether people scored a lot of runs or scored a few, they've all done so quickly.
Van Werkum on strike, facing Delaney, who'll bowl the last over. That's down the leg side. A wide given, and Neil Rock very keen to get down to the striker's end, even at the expense of a run out, which wasn't far away from happening.
Well, Tucker realised that Rock had set off very quickly. He was going to be safe at that end, so he threw it down. Delaney had a shy at the stumps. But unfortunately, for the Leinster Lightning, it went wide. Another one onto the total. Sight screen gets moved again. Delaney going to go around the wicket to the left-hander, hoping to cramp him for space. There's also the danger with this that he might step inside the line and just lift it towards the shortest boundary, down to the wall.
All 4 fielders inside the circle are on the offside. And that's struck nicely by Rock, but straight to Mudford on the cover boundary for just the 1. Five deliveries to go. Rock on 46, Van Werkum 11. 180 for 7.
Well, I for one would love to see Neil Rock get back on strike and complete his half century.
Well, he'll get a chance all right, because that's a single turned down to fine leg where Simi Singh is the fielder. Rock back on strike with 4 deliveries to go.
Really has been a super knock from him. It's a good mix of power and touch. He's known when to take the bowlers on, that's for sure.
Came in when the score was 3 for 60 after 6.2 overs. And he's just a boundary away from a very good half century. He's kept the innings going. That's off the inside edge. Straight to Mike O'Reilly at fine leg. just a single. I think Leinster Lightning will be happy so far. They've restricted the Knights to just 3 singles in this over. Trying to keep the boundaries from happening. 183 for 9 by the Munster Reds against the Northwest Warriors. That's the highest score this week. So the Knights just a couple away from beating that. Lightning very careful how they're setting their field here. They've got a couple, one at backward point, one at short third. They've just brought up the fine leg inside the circle. And it's pulled away, but there's a man out there at deep square. Again, just a single to Van Workum. It's good bowling from Delaney, keeping it nice and straight, not allowing the batters to get a free swing of their arms.
He's varied his pace nicely, but as you say, he's kept the line and the length fairly similar, and that has stymied, I suppose, the Knights batsman during this over.
Okay, Rock 3 short of his 50. Well, he didn't play at that. Probably expecting it might be called a wide, but nothing coming from the umpire, so a very good dot ball that from Delaney, who has just one more delivery in this 20 overs. It's going to be a very interesting run chase, this.
Well, we know that there is the potential in this Leinster lineup with the bat chase down pretty much any total. The question, of course, being, will they play to their potential?
Well, the introduction of Lorcan Tucker today will certainly strengthen the top of the batting order. But of course, Northern Knights with a very good bowling lineup. Oh, that's a great ball, but it's gone through Tucker's hands. And it's 4 byes, 4 free runs for the Northern Knights. And that's the final delivery of this innings. 187 for 7, the final score. 20 overs gone. Rock has to be satisfied with a not out 47 off 36 deliveries. Van Workum with a very good 13 off his 7 balls faced. And Delaney 1 for 41 off his 4 overs.
Well, it's the biggest total we've seen this week in the festival, under what I would say is the best weather we've seen this week.
The ground staff coming on to do their work in the middle as we take a look at the card of the Northern Knights. Top scorer there, Rock on 47, McCullum with 45. They had an excellent mid-wicket partnership. Sterling with a quick 28 and Mark Adair with 21 off 11. And credit Van Workum coming in very late in the piece and managing to get 13 off 7. 19 extras, 187 for 7 off their 20 overs.
Well, the Lightning, they've used 7 bowlers, but couldn't quite find the right formula. Fee on hand, 3 for 32. Well, he has the best figures. Simi Singh taking 2 for 25. Those 2 wickets falling in the same over were a big help for him. The only other wicket taker, Delaney. And of course, we had that fabulous run out involving George Dockrell. He was the bowler. He moved quickly across, picked the ball up, swiveled, got it into Tucker, and that saw the end of Morgan Topping, who, well, he was off to a promising start anyway.
2 wickets falling at 41, 42, 122 and 159, but the Knights kept it going. They showed they've got strength in depth on the batting side, and the situation of the match at the halfway point is that the Leinster Lightning will have to score 188 to win this, the last of the T20s for 2023. Their run chase to follow shortly. Play is due to resume at 5:15. I hope you'll join us for that.
Well, welcome back. We welcome back the two teams as well. Leinster Lightning, 188 to get to win this final match of the IP20 festival and the series itself. Bit of a dead rubber, but there is pride at stake. And Northern Knights asked to bat, made 187 for 7. Sean Hussey and John Kenny bringing you the conclusion of this festival. Thankfully we got some play in today. There's a little rain about. There might be a little rain shortly. Hopefully that does not come to pass and we can get through this and finish off this session in style. Tom Mays facing, Mumford facing. Mays is bowling. Tim Tichter also opening the batting for the Leinster Lightning. The reigning champions have been disposed. Sean, do you think Leinster have a chance? 188's a tall order, but they certainly have the batting.
Evening, John. Evening, everyone. I think so. I think there's a lot of batting in this lineup. Really interested to see how Riley Mudford goes. We saw his power on Tuesday. Really good ball striker.
And there you go. As soon as you say it, pips it down the leg side for the first boundary. Bat on ball very nicely indeed. The Tom Mays, tall Tom Mays, getting the treatment.
Yeah, we've seen this again on Tuesday. Saw him make a wonderful century for his club Railway in the Leinster T20 semi-finals. Outstanding ball striker, particularly off fast bowling. Struggles a little bit more against spin.
Slip in place early. Down the track he comes. It's a good take by the wicketkeeper. Had to move an awful long way down to his left. Neil Rock, captain the other day. He's slightly disappointed. 47 is a good tally, but he had an over to get to the 50. He was on 45 entering that last over. Didn't get it. But they did get the bonus of the 4 leg buys, 4 buys at the last ball of the over to take him to 187. And that one again pumped down the ground. They're not going to cut that off. Little loose from Mays to start with. A couple of boundaries and a good start for the Leinster Lightning.
Yeah, this is raw power from Riley Mudford. The problem when you bowl to someone like this, big tall man, is you're any way off your length, even if it's back of a length, they can score. Gives himself a little bit of room, and that is pure short arm jab. Wonderful shot.
"21-year-old New Zealander Riley Mudford. Could start this to the Lightning reply. Right this morning for the opening game. It was a little cool. This afternoon has turned out to be a lot warmer, but the clouds are starting to roll in now. They're a bit dark looking away to our right hand side, so let's hope they can hold their contents until at least the end of this game. And this reply. So that ends the first over. Good one for the Leinster Lightning. Couple of boundaries off it. They're 9 without loss.
Yeah, it's going to be, looks like Pretorius on the other end, the Wheelfield Road end of the ground. And there's a decent crowd building up here, I'm sure. I want to see a little bit of fireworks. A lot of people maybe coming in off the back of work. So hopefully we can get a good finish. Been a disappointing IP20 season for everyone really, with the rain that has played such a big part. Hopefully this final game can give us a little bit of excitement, particularly with the Leinster Lightning batting lineup. Real fireworks in there, inclusion of Lorcan Tucker today. And this man Riley Mudford, keep an eye out on him.
Mark Adair looking for a change in the field. He's down near Pretorius again, looking for the change in the field. He wants to bring the man at the mid-wicket boundaries just a little squarer. So, Tim Tector takes guard for the first time. Some brilliant fielding from Tector. He really is an amazing fielder out in the boundary. And what an arm he has. He just would not chance it.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting dynamic here. You've got Riley Mudford on strike, who's obviously going to go in and get bat on ball. So Tim Tector can just keep giving him the strike.
Should be 2, maybe more. It's going to roll down the hill and away from the fielder. And Tector gets in on the action and nicely gets off the mark.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gift from Pretorius. Leg stump half volley. Well played from Tim Tector. Found the gap. A nice, comfortable way to get off the mark. To his confidence, the world of good. Batted beautifully here on Tuesday.
Gives us a bit of room. And there's an appeal from the bowler. There's an appeal from the wicketkeeper. Paul Sterling at first step keeps stum.
Well, I think Tim Tector has almost gestured that it may have flicked the stump. There was definitely a noise, you'd think, from the Northern Knights perspective. And it did. You can see the top of the bail move. Well, that famously happened to Ed Joyce during the 2015 World Cup.
UAE, the World Cup of 2015 in Brisbane. It actually, they had the lights on the stumps. So when the ball flicked the stumps, it jumped and came back down. It was one of the most amazing things I think I've ever seen. But that one definitely clipped the top of the stumps. They heard a noise. They would not have known that it just clipped the top of the stumps. But Tector might know. But the fielding side certainly didn't. That was in a moment and a half, all right. So wide down leg side. It hit the middle part of the two bails, didn't it, Sean? And that's what saved him.
Yeah, well, you can actually see the bail jump up for a slight second. And they remained back on. And Tector survives, but you could tell because Northern Knights thought they had their man. They thought they heard the noise, but it wasn't off the edge of the bat of Tector.
If you know your cricket bails, they've got two kind of shafts at either end, and then there's a middle bit which is ridged. And it hit the middle stump. Well, not the stump, but the middle part of the bail, or the end part of one of the bails. In fact, the end part of both of those bails. But failed to dislodge either. You only need to knock one bail off. And now he's gone downtown. Not gone all the way, just waiting for the signal now. 4, 1 bounce 4. So that'll hurt Pretorius.
Yeah, it's a good shot from Tector. Just a little bit too full. Easily hit away for a boundary from Tim Tector.
And now he's gone leg side. So a couple of boundaries for the Leinster Lightning. That wraps up the second over. They're going along nicely here now. 23 without loss. Woodford on 10. And Tector with a couple of consecutive boundaries, rocking back in the heels. Tector moves to 12. Run rate's 9.17. It's a lot. They've started with the blaze here now. They're nearly up to 12 runs and over. And Markadair has decided to take off Tom Mays after just the one over and bring himself on. Captain of the Knights. It's a ball from the St. John's end. Slip is gone.
And I think that's the line to ball to Riley Mudford. Get it in at his chest area. Don't allow him any room to free the arms. Good start from Adair.
The elements are in our favour at the moment. Bit of weak afternoon sunshine now breaking through, shining on Adair. That's so wide. Even though Mudford walked away from the stumps, Adair tried to follow him. Brother Ross also involved in the Northern Knights team, former Ulster rugby player, just the one cap for Ulster, but now concentrating fully on cricket. And down the track he comes. That should be out. Down the throat of the fielder. Just checks the fact that he's not going to step over the boundary ropes. And Mudford perishes on 10. Adair gets his man.
Well, normally such a strong point of his game, Mudford timing the ball. Clever from Adair. Didn't give him any sort of full length. Banged it in. Up at his shoulder area, and Riley Mudford, all he could do was find that man in the deep. First wicket falls for the Leinster Lightning. Again, clever bowling from Adair. Tucks him up for any space to free the arms. Comes down the wicket. And good catch in the deep with that boundary. Just at his back by Ross Adair.
Brotherly love. They'll be very happy with that. Ross taking a decent catch. Did all the things right there as a commuter train runs by on the railway line away to our left-hand side. New batsman in, Lorcan Tucker. Irish wicketkeeper. And no mean batsman either coming on to bat at his home ground.
I believe it's Ross Adair's mother's birthday today. They're down on the wall joining us, so I'm sure they'd have been happy with that. Can he find another one here up against his international colleague Lorcan Tucker?
Sterling's at slip. Oh, it's a bowl by Adair. You always know when Adair bowls well, he kind of runs through a little like Josh Little as well, but the feet kind of paddling his splayed. It always feels like he's bowled a decent bowl when you see him do that. Little does exactly the same thing. But you can see where he put the slip in there.
Yeah, well, he wears his heart in the sleeves. You can tell by his body language sometimes. I think you're right. That was a beautiful delivery. First up for Tucker to face.
That's on leg. Tries to catch it. It was in the air for a moment. He's going to run through for a couple. It was a good nick with the bat marker there. The T20 World Cup qualifiers in Scotland in Edinburgh recently. Let's hope you can carry that on now into the World Cup next year, which will be held in the West Indies and the USA. They got a little fright in the opening match against the Italians, and Irish supporters were thinking, oh, here we go again. But they marched through the rest of the ground, having overcome that first game. Little nerves, perhaps, after not qualifying for the T50 World Cup, 50 over World Cup in Zimbabwe. But they did the job necessary, got to the final. Scotland beat them, but not by much. It was a huge total from both sides, 300 and something odd from both teams. Ireland nearly chased it down, which would have been a huge total. I think of a record chase as well for them. So their finals in June of next year. Might make a nice holiday. Oh, bowled it there again. That skipped through. He knows it. Beautifully bowled. That's the end of the third. 27 for 1. Change the bowling now at the nursery end. Lorcan Tucker facing. That was a good over from Adair. Just 4 runs from it. Oh, that's going to go all the way for 6. That's just... Lorcan Tucker doesn't mind that. Up into his helmet. But he just swung at that and a big, thick edge flew over his head and down for a maximum.
Yeah. Matthew Foster immediately starts with a bouncer. And Lorcan Tucker, who normally is so good on the pull shot, it's a little bit of luck. Big top edge. Flies all the way for 6.
This time he tries to scoop. A half-hearted appeal from Neil Rock. Gonna get that. Likes the scoop, does Tucker. Plays it a lot.
And I think players like that. You often see Joe Root do it in test match cricket where he plays the reverse ramp. Players who've got a shot like that, I think they want to get themselves going, they'll play it, they'll go to.
He's done it now again. When you get it right, it looks absolutely spectacular. Because it just ramps the ball over the wicketkeeper's head, and that's what he's done. So, a couple of 6s in this Foster over is expensive. 3 deliveries, 12 from it so far.
Just watch how he gets into position. Keeps his eyes all the way on the ball, all the way onto the bat. Again, those players just want to get a little bit of confidence, get a bit of form, fluidity. That's one of their go-to shots, players who can play the ramp so effectively like that.
This time a more orthodox shot. Behind square on the leg side. Didn't exactly intended to go there. He was trying to play in front of square. Nevertheless, 4 more.
And one thing about the ramp shot is it just unsettles bowlers, particularly at the start of a spell. Shuffles down the wicket as he often does, and the leg stump half volley. Another boundary.
Changing the field. Tom Mays away to our left hand side has gone to deep fine leg, and again the ramp shot attempted. It's 2 in this over, 1 has come off. That one's just a little low. Let's get down on one knee.
Yeah, that's a weird shot with fine leg gone back. I know when you've got it, I think Lorcan Tucker will believe he can hit that all the way for 6, but when they've brought and they've made a change in the field and been on and off are in the ring, I think that ball might be better to hit down the ground.
Well, for a second, Mace thought he was in the game there, but it's dissected the 2 fielders. Behind square on the leg side. Down it goes. Expensive over. 20 from it.
Yeah, he's just toying with Foster here, Lorcan Tucker. He's so good when he's in this kind of move. Always moving around his crease, this time going all the way back. Flicked away further. Another boundary. 4 overs now. The Leinster Lightning are in a very strong position. 47 for 1. Making full use of the power play.
$188 for victory. Good start. 47 for 1. Run rates nearly 12. And it's the run rate required has gone down below 9 now. Good start from Ross Adair in his previous over. 1 for 4. He's continuing from the St. John's end. It's a single to Tim Tector, who hasn't seen much of the strike in the last while.
Very clever from Tim Tector, though. Just want to give Lorcan Tucker the strike, particularly after that last over. He doesn't have to do anything rash here. Leinster are ahead of the game. He can just settle in here for a while. Give Tucker the strike.
Yeah, they have momentum. And they're ahead of the run rate, so singles at this stage, that's fine. Keeps the scoreboard ticking over. Keeps the fielding side guessing. Paul Sterling out of slip now, short extra cover. That's my bold. Just straighten them up.
Yeah, well, we've seen from the St. John's end all week Graham Hume bowling similar deliveries. And immediately Paul Sterling going into first slip marker there. The captain Sensing there may well be an edge coming.
As soon as they took him out of there, it goes through extra cover and along the ground down the hill for 4 runs. So victory there for the batsman. 50 up. 53 for 1. Tector moves to 17. Beautiful shot that.
Yeah, well, it's a captain's nightmare, but often when you're the captain and the bowler, you'd be even more annoyed having taken the man out from extra cover and put him in slip. Just over pitching, looking for that outside away swing movement.
There's an immediate change in the field there as well, because Mays moved into that extra cover slot from long off, maybe deep mid off. Raced along to 50. Just the one man out. Riley Mudford gone for 10. There's first victim. Slip's gone again. That's good from Tucker. He's going to keep the strike. That ends the 5th over. And it's 55 for 1, chasing 188 for victory, the Leinster Lightning. Ruben Pretorius back on. 1 over from him so far. Tucker facing. And again, tries the ramp shot, but kind of pulled out of it. In fact, did pull out of it. Tector saw a quick single.
Clever bowling from Pretorius, just bowling that slower delivery, anticipating. Tucker looking for that ramp again.
Is it not a little bit too predictable that Tucker just does this all the time?
Well, I didn't mind it too much, that delivery, because fine leg was in the circle and the man had gone back at long on. But yeah, you always have to pick and choose if you're Lorcan Tucker. Pretorius not as quick as Foster.
Oh, slash hard. 4 runs.
Touch wide from Pretorius. Tector giving himself a little bit of room and he throws the hands at it. Now, not what the Northern Knights want. And Leinster Lightning making full use of the power play.
That is back Pretorius there. A little bit of anger in that one. Not going to give it a wide. They're going to say 1 for the over. 2 umpires today, incidentally. So, Paul Reynolds earlier on today, but it's Steve Wood and Jonathan Kennedy who are out there. Fine leg is coming up. Deep fine leg is coming into the circle now in front of us. Oh, that's lovely. From Tector. Anything that's got to beat the ring is going to fly away to the boundary. Nothing they can do about cutting that one off. Fine shot.
Yeah, this is really clever batting from Tim Tector, because there's 2 men out in the deep in the leg side, meaning there's no one on the offside. Just waits on it. Slower delivery. Finds the gap. Doesn't look to overhit. Very simple, very clever batting, but very, very effective.
Sign of a batsman in good form. If you can wait for the delivery instead of going hard at it. That's what he does around the corner. That's a gift. Set up beautifully for Tector. I just said he didn't get much of the strike early on, but he certainly is making up for it now. That's 30.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gift, bit of a freebie. But this is what these two do, moving around in their crease, putting the bowlers off their line of length. Good shot from Tector. Just helped on its way. It's something we didn't see enough of earlier when Graham Hume was bowling to the Munster Reds. Opening pair of Cummins and PJ Moore, and he bowled those opening 2 overs of his for just 2 runs. There wasn't enough of that moving around the crease.
Pretorius' return's been an expensive one, 13 thus far. 1 ball to come with this at the end of the power play, which is the 6th. That's a big total so far. 68 for 1. Tector and Tucker enjoying themselves out there. Shy of the stumps. Nope. Ball in pocket. End of that over. Tector moves to 31. The score 69 for 1. Thanks to Sean for the moment. We'll be back with the conclusion of this game. But Craig and Stephen Alkin going to pop in for the next 7 overs.
Well, best power play we've seen this week. 69 for 1.
Northern Knights, they were 59 for 2. Not a huge difference, but this has been a cracking start for Leinster Lightning. They've taken the initiative in the game and now they're in complete control.
Well, they're certainly taking on the Northern Knights bowling at the moment.
Tom Mays back into the attack. First over went for 9 runs. A couple of boundaries from Riley Mudford. Single there for Tim Tector, who's already got 7 fours in his 32. Wickets, that's what the Knights need. They've got to break up this partnership. Came together when the score was 24, almost a 50 partnership in less than 4 overs. Nicely played by Tucker, just dabbing it down to 3rd man.
Well, this has been the hallmark of this partnership, as well as the big powerful shots they've put in. They've been quite willing just to take their singles. They have complete confidence in their partner. They know they're well up with the rate. In fact, they're bringing the rate down.
Lifted into the deep, but it doesn't carry to the man on the boundary. So just a single there for Tim Tector. 3 balls in the over, 3 singles. There's a long way to go. They still need another 116, I think it is.
It's a big total they're chasing down. But the way they're
Short.
going at the moment.
And it's pulled away to the man who had to run around from deep mid-on. Another single to Tucker. 73 for 1.
Again, they're not feeling the need to chase the bowling. They're just taking on what's in front of them, and that's exactly the right way to play it at this stage. They're not trying to force anything. If it is only a single, they'll take the single.
That's cracked over the man inside the circle at mid-on. It's a 6, and that's the 50 partnership. 79 for 1. That's 55 runs put on by these two in just 4.3 overs.
Well, I said they were just taking singles when they needed to, but on this occasion, Tector picking it up on length, depositing it on over long on. 6 more to the total, and suddenly 10 off the over.
And this one is pulled, and there's a lot of running for the 2 men who it more or less bisected the fielders. That's another boundary for Tector. 31 or 14 deliveries, 28 or 14 deliveries for Tucker, and it's 83 for 1 at the end of the 7th over. Very impressive from the Lightning.
Well, you have to say that this bowling attack of Mays, Pretorius, Adair and Foster, it's a good bowling attack, but these two are taking it on and turning it to their advantage.
Well, now it's young Matt Humphreys coming on. Brilliant on Tuesday, 4 overs, 5 for 13. Now, if ever a side needed a spin bowler to weave his magic, this is the moment.
Well, you get the feeling that this could be a turning point in the game either way. Taking pace off the ball now with Humphreys. I don't think we've seen as much turn today as we did on Tuesday. But what a partnership it's been between these two. They've put on 59 and it's only taken them 28 balls to do so. Tucker striking at 200 and Tector at slightly above 200. Exactly what the Leinster Lightning needed, chasing down this large total of 187 by the Northern Knights.
Well, it's a victory march for the Knights today, no matter what the score is here, because they are the champions before this match is played. And thankfully, the sun has come out to illuminate this spectacle. Tucker getting an easy single to extra.
Well, by my rough calculations, and they certainly are rough compared to the scorers, I think we've seen over 1,000 runs scored this week now, which, with a full day rained out, plenty of entertainment has still been seen.
Change in the field for Tim Tector. Extra man going over on the offside at the short third. Just one man on the leg side, and it's cracked away by Tector back of square, and very well fielded indeed. James McCullum on the boundary, restricting Tector to just one.
Well, a lesson to all young viewers we have about getting body behind the ball, not just relying on your hands. 3 runs saved.
And that's lifted over Matt Foster, who'd come up into the circle at 45 degrees on the leg side, and it's another boundary for Tucker. He moves to 33.
Clever play again, coming inside the ball, lifting it over short. Fine leg.
Partnership goes to 65. Tector 32, Tucker 33. And plenty of space at mid-wicket, but just a single for Tucker this time.
Good work. The boundary riders coming in very close, tight. An attempt to cut off that second, and it worked on this occasion.
Well, Tim Tector had a wonderful 64 not out carrying his bat for Leinster Lightning on Tuesday. Rather eclipsed by Riley Mudford's 54 off 22 deliveries. He got the man of the match, but Tector batted beautifully on Tuesday, and he's following on here where he left off there. There's another couple to his name.
Another bit of fine fielding by James McCullum on the wall side. Again, getting the slide in, making sure his body was behind it. But to give the Leinster Lightning batsman a chance to take a second. That leaves Tector back on strike.
Humphreys bowling his spin with the wind. I'd like to see him bowling into the wind. Might make it a little bit more tricky for the batters. 1 dot ball at the end of the over, but that's quite expensive for him. 9 off his first over, 92 for 1 after 8 overs. And the job is half done with 11 overs to go.
Well, the Leinster Lightning have set off in pursuit of this large total, as if they want to get there early. Both batsmen on 34 now.
Both off 17 deliveries, both exactly hitting at 200, which is the equivalent of 12 and over, which is well more than Leinster Lightning need. Tom Mays is coming back into the attack. Oh, sorry, Matt Foster. And they're really going to have to get a wicket here. They need to break this partnership, and very soon. Otherwise, this game will be beyond them. And it's a wide bouncer from Foster that you'd have need a step ladder to get to.
Well, Tucker threw the bat in the general vicinity, but even there he couldn't get a touch onto it. Looking to lift it over the keeper, I think. Very inventive batsman, Tucker.
That's up in the air. This could be out. And it is. The missed time shot from Tucker, caught by Mark Adair at mid-off. And they have the breakthrough. Matt Foster getting the second wicket. And the partnership is broken at 69. So 93 for 2 into the 9th over. And Tucker has to go.
Well, Tucker makes his way off. He's done a good job for his team, giving it some momentum. But on this occasion, just getting too far underneath it. And Mark Adair, well, he was always going to make absolutely sure of that on the 30-yard circle. But super innings from Tucker, 34 from just 18 deliveries. 5 boundaries, including 2 maximums. But that partnership of 69 is now done and dusted. And the Northern Knights, I think, will breathe a sigh of relief at seeing the back of one of these two.
New batter, Simi Singh, who excelled with the ball on Tuesday. Scored just 7 runs, but took 4 for 18 off his 4 overs. And now hoping to put a little partnership together with Tim Tector. So much batting still to come for the Lightning. Played nice and late by Singh to get himself off the mark, down to 3rd with that single. They don't need to go chasing the runs for the Lightning. That's their advantage at the moment. They're well ahead of the rate. Just sensible cricket will win this game. That was a good delivery. Perfect length. Tector played and missed for one of the first times today.
Full shot for Tector. You can see from his feet, he cleared his front foot out of the way, but no contact.
Tector racing to 46. And that's played late and backward of square, and it's away for a boundary, and Tim Tector has his half century of just 25 deliveries. Fine knock from the YMCA man, following up on his 64 not out on Tuesday.
Well, he's certainly a man in form. He's hitting the balls to all parts at the moment. He's had nice touch shots as well as power. And it's seen him to this well-deserved second half century of the week.
9 fours and a 6. That'll get the job done. Just a single there into the covers. 51 to him, 99 for 2 the total. And Singh back on strike. Great ball, that's pretty straight, but umpire Jonathan Kennedy not convinced. A leg by for Singh. Pretty close, this one.
It seemed to be going down leg. You can see why umpire Kennedy gave it not out. But that's the end of Foster's over. 1 for 27. Sounds reasonable until you hear from 2 overs. And then you realise just how he has been attacked by the Leinster Lightning batters.
And the Lightning have moved to treble figures. 100 for 2 after 9 overs. Current rate 11.11. Required rate just 8. That target 88 runs away, 8 wickets in hand. And Matt Humphreys will continue from the nursery end. Nicely played by Singh. Just straight out to mid-off. Not trying to do too much.
Even in thrashathons like this, there's still the place for pushed singles. Brings the senior partner onto strike.
Tector out to deep cover, where McCullum is the fielder. Just a single added to the total. Can Humphreys find some of that magic that he showed on Tuesday? Oh, that was a good delivery, and it's out. He has got the magic. It's an LBW, and Singh has to go. So the third wicket falls. 9.3 overs, 102 for 3. Singh LBW to Humphreys for 2. And who knows, maybe the game about to turn.
Well, Humphreys was the main attacking force, taking his 5 for 13 on Tuesday. Is he going to be the man on whom Northern Knights rely to defend this large total of 187? Just 2 for Singh, not the most successful tournament with the bat, but definitely has had a good week with the ball.
Mark Donegan, the incoming batter, who plays his club cricket with the Hills. In the team as a fielder today, with Tucker taking over the gloves.
Kept well on Tuesday, but with the return of the international keeper, he understands, mainly in the team for his batting skills today. But Humphrey makes a good breakthrough on that third wicket down.
Yeah, we're approaching the halfway mark in the innings, and it's really important for the Lightning not to lose more wickets quickly. That was a strange shot to attempt, their first ball at the wicket. A reverse sweep.
It was almost like he'd taken a dislike to Paul Sterling in the slips, and he turned round and aimed at him almost. See here, reverse sweep, first ball up. It was well set for it.
It's actually dropped. Very difficult chance for Sterling. It came at him really quickly, but it certainly came off the bat. So off the mark with a scratchy single. And Tector just on his merry way with another beautiful shot to the boundary. As if to say, what's the problem?
Yeah, no need for a reverse sweep there. Just played the ball on its merits and played it to where he wanted to.
To be fair, it was a short delivery and he dispatched it with aplomb. Again, a straight shot. Just take the singles where they are. That's all Leinster Lightning have to do. The end of Humphrey's second over. He got the breakthrough, but he's gone for 17 runs. 1 for 17 off his 2. 108 for 3 at the halfway mark. 10 overs gone. Run rate 10.8. Required rate is 8. Tector on 57. Donegan off the mark with that scratchy single. Here's how the batting card looks. Mudford looked to be in good nick, but he got out with a mistimed shot. Tector has been supreme so far. Well aided by Tucker in that fine partnership for the second wicket. And after 10 overs, 108 for 3. Leinster Lightning big odds on to go on and win this game, which will be just consolation for them because of their poor early season form down in the Mardyke.
Well, it was a much changed Leinster Lightning squad that played down in Cork. Very youthful team. The internationals weren't available. A couple of people out injured, which didn't help. But 3 defeats in Cork. Well, it left the Leinster Lightning with very little chance, relying on other people's results, really.
Tector using his feet beautifully there and crunching that one to the mid-on boundary. Timed beautifully, beating the fielder who was out there, who only had to move a few yards but couldn't get to the ball. Tector 57, Donegan 1. And when you're in form, you get a little lucky break or two. That one just coming off the edge of Tector's baton. Just a single for him this time.
So often you'd see a shot like that just nestling into a fielder's hands, but when your luck is in and things are going well, you just take advantage of it.
So that'll bring Mark Donegan on strike. Good for Leinster Lightning to have a left-right combination at this stage of the innings. Just makes it a little bit more difficult for the fielding side. Turned nicely by Donegan to backward square. Keep rotating the strike. That'll be the motto for these two. Keep the scoreboard just ticking along. Looking for 2 this time, but nothing doing on that short boundary. Good fielding by Ross Adair coming off the ropes.
One of the things I do like about this pair is they do run the first single exceptionally quickly. Even one that's just played out towards a fielder, they're always looking, just in case there's a chance of a second. They don't want to miss out on any chances.
And that one's high, and there's a man under it. Pretorius takes the catch well inside the boundary. And that is the end of Donegan, who didn't quite catch it. Caught Pretorius, bowled Van Workum for 2. And the 4th wicket goes down at 115. And it just keeps the Knights in the game. The wickets falling. Tector still there, of course, but new man in each time to bat with. And Pretorius getting the congratulations from his teammates for that effort.
Well, he did really well, steadied himself and made absolutely sure his landing might not have been as good as he wanted. He may have shook himself up a little bit there. But the important thing as far as his teammates are concerned is he held the catch. That's all the end of Donegan. And this could be the Achilles heel of the Leinster Lightning innings now, is losing wickets. 4 down now, 115 on the board. And it does bring the captain, George Dockrell, out to the middle.
Dockrell and Tector, 2 of the best batters on the Leinster team. We've seen the great feats of batting that Dockrell has produced in the last couple of years. Well, that was the last ball of the previous over, so it'll be Tector on strike here. After 11, 115 for 4. Tector on 63, Dockrell yet to face a delivery.
They do need some sort of partnership at this stage, Leinster.
No run that time to very short backward point. Morgan topping the fielder. Mark Adair back into the attack. Has 1 for 12 from his 2 overs so far. Got the wicket of Riley Mudford early on. That's a great pull. Straight to the fielder. There's 3 out there on the leg side on the boundary. Single for Tector. Brings George Dockrell on strike for the first time. 72 to win, 52 balls remaining, 6 wickets in hand. Looks like a pretty easy equation for Leinster Lightning. But if they could get Tector out, that could be a major turning point in this match.
Well, I have to say, at the moment, Northern Knights, although they've conceded these runs and just 72 to win from 52 balls, it's the wickets falling that are causing Leinster the problem, and they do need a partnership, if only to settle things down. If they were to score 30 or so over the next 3 overs, even 20 or so over the next, they'd still have plenty in reserve, but it's the wickets in hand.
That's through the hands of Morgan Topping at backward point. Just a single, gets Dockrell off the mark.
And again, a very quickly run single to give them any hope of getting a second. They decided against it in the end. One felt if that had happened in 6 or 7 overs' time, they'd have taken on the arm. But at this stage, both batsmen understand what's required.
Well, Tector went for that, and he wasn't too far away from getting a snick. Another short ball hammered in there by Mark Adair. And a no ball is the signal. Ball above shoulder height. And it's a free hit for Tim Tector. This could be fun.
Well, he'll be looking to maximise the return from this.
Well, they can't change the field for a free hit.
Small debate, discussion, exchange of views between bowler and umpire.
And really, given the situation in the match, Tector just needs to play the ball on its merits.
Absolutely.
No point in trying to do anything spectacular just because it's a free hit. The last thing you want to do is to sacrifice your wicket. And there you go. He went for the big hit and he was riddled middle stump. Now, was it a fair ball?
Oh, that was quite emphatic as a bowler. The ideal response to being called for a no ball. Part of you is delighted because they haven't scored off your free hit.
Yeah.
But part of you is kind of, wasted a great delivery. Knocked over middle stump, and all it goes in the book is dot.
A lovely cartwheel job on that stump flying down. What a waste. I mean, how many times in a whole innings do the bowlers actually hit the stumps with their deliveries? Or would have hit the stumps had it not been hit by the batter? Oh, there's a bit of fight here from the Northern Knights, and the stare of Mark Adair as he followed through there was pretty impressive.
Well, they may be about to be crowned champions of the interprovincial T20 Rario competition, but the last thing they wanted to be picking up the trophy having just lost a game.
Great over. Absolutely superb from Mark Adair. There might have been a wide and a no ball in there, but look, just a couple of runs off the over and he ends up after 3. 1 for 16. Tector still there, 64 off 39. Dockrell has just got the 1 run, and it's 119 for 4 after 12 overs.
Well, just by comparison, the Northern Knights, they were 99 for 3 at the same stage. So Leinster, having lost a wicket more, but 20 runs ahead. It'll be interesting to see how they go from here to the end now.
So it's Matt Foster to continue. George Dockrell on strike, who's hardly got in yet. He's only faced 1 delivery. So key over this. They've got to keep chipping away. They've got to keep taking the wickets, the Knights, if they're to make this total of 187 competitive. Lifted into the mid-wicket area where there were no fielders. So just a single for Dockrell to start off this 13th over. Brings Tector back on strike.
Very good ball from Foster there. He knows that George Dockrell likes to play over extra cover. Cramped him up, kept into a single.
Nicely played, very late by Tector, just opened up the bat face. Great work on the boundary to prevent the 4. 2 runs to Tector. He goes to 66, score to 122 for 4. It's good cricket all round.
Well, they often say save the best till last, and that appears to be what's happening here today.
Off the pads of Tector into that empty area at mid-wicket. Leg by to the Lightning. They don't mind how they get them as long as they do. .123 for 4. 65 runs needed, 45 balls remaining. And that's straight for us. That's over our heads. Cleared this tent we're sitting in by about 10 feet. Fine strike from Dockrell. His first boundary.
As I was saying, he does like to hit those big hits on the offside. Gives himself room. And really straight over the top of this tent. 6 more onto the total. The required runs now under 60.
We know what a savage hitter Dockrell can be when he gets his eye in. There he goes again. And that's away for 6 over cover point. No chance out there for Tom Mays.
Oh, an absolutely fabulous job by the skipper. See this, Foster sees Dockrell, back foot moves away as if he's going to give himself room, and then he comes across and just cuts it square for 6, and that is a super shot.
So Dockrell 14 or 4 deliveries. Oh, much better ball that. He just held it back a little bit slower and beat Dockrell's intentions. Good comeback by Foster, but the over cost 15 runs. He's 1 for 42 off 3. Tector 66, Dockrell 14, and the Lightning 135 for 4, and just a shade over 50 required now.
Oh, another good over for the Lightning. They're almost 2 overs ahead of where the Northern Knights were, so they are ahead of the run chase, and they've brought the run rate required right down to manageable proportions. We saw in the first game today that the Northwest, well, they let that run rate get away, and then they ended up costing them loads of wickets as they were chasing runs. On this occasion, the Leinster Lightning have given themselves a bit of breathing space, but their main worry is losing wickets.
Here's Theo van Workum back into the attack. Slashed away by Tector backward, and it's gone all the way to the boundary. Nothing the cover fielder could do out there. Tector moves into the 70s. 139 for 4 now.
Well, Tector has shown all week he's in form. Just gives himself the room he wanted, and he cut it to a place where the fielder couldn't get to.
And a sensible stroke for a single as the Lightning move into the 140s. The runs to win down to 48, 40 balls to go. And George Dockrell needing a change of bat here.
Do you think he's gone for the heavier, bigger bat now? 14 off 5, just not scoring quick enough. He's called for Wonder Boy.
His last 2 scoring shots have been 6s. What will he do this time? Three out, well, 2 out on the leg side because they've decided to bring an extra player into the circle on the leg side. Matt Humphreys just backward of square. There's a long on. Tom Mays is out at cow corner. Matt Foster backward square leg. 3 inside the circle on the offside. Crunched by Dockrell, but straight to the fielder at cover. No run. And he looks up to the skies as if to say, what a waste.
That's much better delivery.
My venerable friend behind me, when I said what a waste, whispered in my ear, Ian Jury and the Blockheads. What else would you think? The Knights need a breakthrough. Few dot balls, but they need wickets. The dot balls aren't going to do it for them. 48 required off 37. Turn to square leg, but short fielder there is Humphreys. That's the end of the 14th over. 5 off that over from Van Workum. He's got 1 for 12 off 2. Tector on 71. Dockrell on 14. And the Leinster Lightning just 48 away from victory. Time for a commentary change. Sean and John back into the hot seats.
Well, not a waste, Stephen Alkin and Craig Senior. Wrapping up their stint here at this IP20 festival. So myself and Sean are going to wrap this up now. And wonder, can the Leinster Lightning do similar? Or can we have a late surge from the Northern Knights? The champions looking to finish off in a positive fashion. Bringing Tom Mays back on. 140 for 4. 71 to Tector off just 43. Dockrell's swishing and swiping out there. Even changed his bat. Looking for a lot of runs. So Mays coming into the bowl to start the 15th over. That's in the air. Oh, an attempt at a diving catch. It's gone all the way for 4. Rossa there with the attempted diving catch to his right hand side. Just couldn't get underneath it. It bounces away for 4. It was a good attempt. Just didn't quite work. Fine smack though, but he survives.
Yeah, picks the length. Tector goes on the back foot. Diving effort from Rossa there. Did get a hand on it. Very, very difficult chance.
Yeah, it'd been a heck of a catch. He held on to that one. Tector on to 75 now. Enough wickets in hand to cruise home, you would think. They need wickets. Getting a little grey now. The wind is blowing towards our direction, which is bringing the clouds in over the nursery end at the far end. So hopefully they won't throw their contents down on us in the last couple of overs, and we'll get through to the finish here. Knights are already the champions, but they'd like to finish on a winning note. Mark Adair having a word with Tom Mays. So they're going to bring up Pretorius into the ring from third into short third. Adair himself has dropped back just in front of us. George says thank you very much, and Mrs. Maguire has another ball to contend with down there. That is stand and deliver. George Dockrell, amazing stuff. Watched him down the years turn himself into from a bowler into a batsman. Lost his Irish contract. He's got it back again. Turned himself into a fantastic batsman, and now he's back bowling again. I'm surprised he only bowled 1 over in earlier on today. Just went for 5, but he just rocked back on his heels, Sean, and that's gone many a mile.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a new ball, because that was a sensational hit from George Dockrell. Again from Mays, it's a little bit too predictable. Just read that length, rock on the back foot. But as you say, George Dockrell, one of the most powerful hitters in the Irish setup. It was actually a joy to watch when you're down at pitch level. You can hear the noise off the bat. And he's always one of those players, even there when he comes in and starts an innings, immediately he times the ball beautifully. He's always had that in the last 4 or 5 years. That's a sensational shot.
That's a wonderful shot that was. You could, as you alluded to, Sean, you could hear the crack off the middle of the bat. That big, heavy 3-pound 2-ounce bat, as it fairly flew into the gardens away to our right-hand side. Wind is picking up now. Seagulls are standing on the ground looking for titbits. And that one, oh, it's just gone short. And it just scampered through for the single. George is looking for the second, but he was sent back by Tector. That just drops short, and Dockrell survives.
Well, it's been that kind of day for the Northern Knights in the field. A lot of balls going in the air, but not quite carrying to fielders in the deep. Saw it earlier in the first innings as well. It's that kind of day. The wind is swirling around.
36 to win now. Almost a run of ball. Takes it down the track. That's in the air. There's 3 fielders descending upon it. Tector wanted the second. George sent it back. It's all going on out there. But he survives. Tector moves to 76, and they've gone past the 150 mark now. 153. Tector got up to 77, but that just shows the consternation of the 3 fielders down there. None of them could get close to it, and it bounced in the middle of the 3 of them.
Yeah, right on cue again. Another ball going in the air, but not going to hand in the gap from Tector. Been a little bit streaky there, but he's been playing well in good form.
George didn't know where that went. Actually landed in front of him, tried to pull it. Dropped down in front of him. That ends the over. It's a welcome dot ball from Mays. With 13 from it. 153 for 4. 5 overs to go at the end of 15. Mario Interprovincial Trophy, IP20. Lightning against the new champions, the Knights. Lightning require 35 of 30 balls. You would think it would be close if they had 2-3 wickets in hand, but they don't. They have 6, so they're very much the favourites here to overhaul that 187.
There's been some turnaround by the Northern Knights this year. Simon Johnson, the coach, spoke about last year being a transitional one. Seem to have got everything in order.
Back to spin we go. One closer to the target. Tector on to 78 now. Haven't seen a century so far this week. Yesterday was rained off. 2 matches on Tuesday. Van Moorcombe changing ends. It's bowled well, actually. One up in the slot. Pushed down the ground for a single. Beauty it is from these 2 batters as well, is that they can just take the ones when they want to, Sean, can't they? And then maybe just find the odd boundary and put more pressure on the Knights. Tector. There you go. A couple of singles to start the over, and then push it into the offside for 4, and now they're ahead of the rate.
Yeah, outstanding from Tim Tector. It's actually quite similar to Harry, the way he can get his long levers through the ball on the offside. It's incredible how often they beat the deep sweepers on the offside. Tim Tector moves into the 80s, his 3rd out of 50 in list. The T20 list A. He was nearly out there.
Nothing kind of shot, really. He has a word with the wicketkeeper about what happened there. Kind of slipped the front foot, slid from under him as he tried to cut that. .28 now from 25. This form of cricket should ease to victory. Leinster Lightning, the way these boys go about their business these days. Not so long ago, 28 from 25 would be a daunting figure. No longer. That ends that Van Moorcombe over. Wasn't a bad one, but still conceded 7 runs. 160 for 4 after 16. Big tall Tom Mays to continue then from the St. John's end, where he has bowled all of his overs so far. Tector on 83 off just 50 deliveries. Dockrell on 22. He's been entertaining since he came in. Catch is the cry. And again, a diving stop. And again, Rossadair gets his hand to that, but there's no way he's going to catch it. But he tried to keep it in play, and all he could do is push it over the boundary ropes.
Again, a little bit of fortune for Tim Tector. You could say he's deserved it. Didn't get anywhere near all of it. Bouncing in front of Rossadair. Very difficult. Trying to jump in the air and haul that ball back. Moves to 87.
Cracked away into the offside. There is a sweeper down there. Kind of a bit of a slow death, really, in T20 cricket. You don't get many of these. It's usually a lot closer, but the way these two lads have gone about things. And Lorcan Tucker earlier on scoring 34 off 18. They did lose a couple of quick wickets in Simi Singh and Mark Donegan, but these two have settled the ship. Now the track goes George. Is anybody underneath him? There's a 10-year-old child underneath that one. Hopefully he won't get hit. That was way, way over our heads. George Dockrell again showing his prowess with the bat onto 28 as he clears the ropes.
Yeah, if you're bowling that length, Mays, you want a little bit of more pace on the ball. Again, that's his strong suit. Down the ground, George Dockrell. Wonderful shot.
$11 off the first 3 deliveries so far. Bonus territory for the Lightning. That's in the air. Somebody should be underneath that. Almost gone down. Well, any chance they had of winning it probably disappeared with that drop ball. George Dockrell survives. Mays not happy. They run through for 2.
Yeah, it's Morgan topping there. Never got himself set. Always difficult, that ball coming out of the night sky. Well, his hands are too low.
I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a moment. Tom Mays to George Dockrell, and that's gone all the way. Mark Adair was suggesting perhaps that catch should have been taken. Let's put it the nice way. 9 to win now.
Yeah, and with that, it's probably the end of Tim Tector's ideas of making a century. Again, that sort of length from Mays has gone the distance. He hasn't really tried to bowl too full here. And when he's bowled that length, Leinster Lightning have been able to clear the ropes. I wonder, could he have tried to bowl a bowling a little bit fuller today?
That's got up in the air. That should be the end of Dockrell now. That's a good take. Very good take. Going to his right-hand side, had to come back to his left. And Dockrell perishes for a quick fire. 36 from 17. And they lost their 5th wicket with a score on 179. But it's pretty much game over.
Yeah, really good catch from James McCullum. Looked like he overran it there slightly. Interesting, I know he got into position early there and he had his hands facing up like the Australian way. Short ball again for Mays. Compare that with Morgan Topping, who never really set himself. And a really good catch, you can almost see here. Looks like he overran it slightly. And in the end, very good take.
36 from 18. And Barry McCarthy joins the party at number 7. He was chirping and talking and a little upset during the Leinster Lightning bowling attack. And one particular moment I just saw off camera as well, he was snapping away at David Donegan. A very fierce competitor, Barry McCarthy. Works hard at his game. In and out of the Irish squad for years, pretty much now a permanent fixture. And back playing in his home club in this Rario Interprovincial Trophy IP game here at Sydney Parade. Very dark overhead, but we're going to get away with it.
Well, 3 boundaries here, 3 fours for Tim Tector will get him up to that magical 100. Sure, only 9 to win. I'm sure he may well be aware of that.
Yeah, trying to work it out. 6 and 4. Yeah, it has to be 3 boundaries. Well, that's just the one, so that's the end of that. Just beginning the 18th over. And again, McCarthy words with the wicketkeeper.
Yeah, well, I think there Neil Rock was half joking with him that he was going to run him out a bit like Alex Carey,
Yeah.
Johnny Bairstow. 2 lads just having a little bit of fun.
I don't know, but I think McCarthy was too impressed by that, actually, to be quite honest. But he may have the last laugh. Humphreys in his 3rd over, 1 for 18. Hasn't bowled that badly in the context of this game, a high-scoring match. He might as well put a slip in. Oh, Sterling just appears from nowhere. You wouldn't remember that series, you're far too young, Mr. Ben. As if by magic, the shopkeeper arrived. Rather like Paul Sterling just moving into shot. To go into first slip. 8 needed now. McCarthy finally off the mark. It's getting very dark out there. You don't see that on your screens at home because the television cameras illuminate the pictures, but it is pretty dark. Not enough to take them off. And they will be anxious to finish this off. Tector moves into the nervous 90s, but 6 runs required. 2 sixes. Get him to 100. But they only need the 6. So that's the end of that. That's the end of the 18th over. Humphreys, good one from him, but it matters little. Just 3 from it. 1 for 20 from his 3. And that's the trophy in the distance there. George Dockrell gives it a little admiring glance. He's picked up that trophy last year, but they won't be doing it this year. They may win this match, but it's only their 2nd victory because the Knights are going to be crowned champions despite the fact they're going to lose here. Mark there coming on for perhaps what could be the last rights. 2 overs to go, 6 to win. Tector facing on 90. 4 and a 6. A 4 and a 6? Yeah, 4 and a 6. That's what he can get. Boundary, and then a 6 to finish things off. We'll get him to a century.
Well, he's had a good week, Tim Tector. His highest ever list A T20 score. Can he get to that magical century?
Whips it away. They'll only get the single. 5 now needed. Doesn't seem to be too bothered about getting the 100. Could have just stood back. I think they're just anxious to get over the line now and get this match done and dusted before we get any rain. Seeing the rain we had yesterday, we're very lucky to get through this match as well, which is great to see. So at least we've got 4 of the 6 games completed. And that's tied up the match. 4 from McCarthy. Scores are tied.
Yeah, short ball. Powerful shot from Barry McCarthy. Really good on the pull shot. And they're on the brink, Leinster. Been a disappointing year for them. Very disappointing time down in Cork.
just started to spit spot rain. We're going to get the match concluded. Just one run needed now for the Leinster Lightning. And there it is for as Adair throws back his head in anguish. But he will collect the trophy for the Knights. But in the end, the last laugh really, in the playing sense, has gone to the Leinster Lightning. 191 for 5. They got the winning runs in the 19th over, and they win by 5 wickets. I thought 187 was going to be a difficult target for 188 indeed, a difficult target for the Leinster Lightning. But in the end, Sean, they picked away at that quite easily.
Yeah, Tim Tector carrying his bat all the way through. Outstanding from him. Barry McCarthy puts the gloss on a really good win for the Leinster Lightning. And what a week it is for Tim Tector here. He'd be delighted with himself. And the Northern Knights, although they lose today, be very happy with what they've done in the IP20 season. Although it has been rain affected, all games washed out in Breedy yesterday, washed out here in Pembroke. But they are the champions. This is the only game they've lost this season.
Yeah, we got to see some Irish internationals involved too. Paul Sterling, you see there, number 39, making his way off, just waiting for the 2 batsmen to walk off. Barry McCarthy was involved. Mark Adair came back to play in this game. Maybe future Irish talent as well, because we did have a chat with Ali after the last match in his man of the match performance. And he was telling us that he's actually has an Irish passport, so he'll be a future Irish player. But anyway, for the moment, Leinster Lightning win by 5 wickets. Only their second win in the tournament. No change in the table, incidentally. The end of all of that. Here's the Knights batting. Neil Rock, 47, not out from 36. Mark Adair with a little cameo of 21. 45 from McCollum before he was bowled by Singh. Yeah, Singh was on a hat-trick at one stage. But in the end, a few too many extras as well. 19, 187 for 7 off their 20 overs. So 188 was required for victory. These are the bowling figures.
Yeah, 3 wickets for Fionn Hand. Just the 1 over for Mikey O'Reilly up top. McCarthy and Delaney a little bit expensive. And Simi Singh with 2 for 25. Being able to bowl off breaks and indeed leg breaks to the right-handers. Outstanding work by him. Good to see him back after his injury earlier on in the season.
I had a quick word with him actually on the sideline here. His thumb is still strapped up, but he says it's all better now, which is good to see. This is the Lightning performance. Tector, 91 from 56. Big contender for player of the match. Tucker, 34 from 18. Plenty of ramp shots, plenty of entertainment when he was in there. George Dockrell, big cameo from him too. Big ball, big bat. 18 balls to him, 36. And McCarthy, 9 not out from 5 deliveries. He hit the winning runs.
Yeah, the 6 bowlers used for the Northern Knights. Tom Mays, very expensive. Just the 2 overs for Pretorius. Mark Adair bowled well. And the spin of Humphreys and Van Bronckhorst was effective. Norkin Tucker took a liking to Foster.
And there's your match summary then. The Knights 187 for 7. Rocket 47. Singh with 2 for 25 on Fionn Hand 2 for 32. And Tector carries his bat 91 and helps the Leinster Lightning to a 5 wicket victory, their first one. But the Northern Knights are the IP20 champions. And check out Cricket Ireland's social media for the trophy presentation and also the Man of the Match award. It's been my pleasure to be here this afternoon with Sean, with Craig and also Stephen as well. I'm John Kenny. Hope you enjoyed our coverage from all the HBV studios until we head off on our travels again for the 50 over IP50 over games over the next couple of weeks. It's bye for now.